This video is going to be a demonstration about how to use the drawing tools in AutoCAD. So up here in our ribbon, we're going to look in Draw, and let's just start with Line. Now remember, check your settings. I've got my ortho on, my object snap on. Line tool is pretty straightforward. The best way I found to draw with line is click a point, and remember you can start anywhere you want, and then move your cursor whatever direction you want to go. For example, right, left, up, down. Now with my ortho mode on, I'm restricted, remember. So if I wanted to draw a rectangle, for example, I would move my cursor to the right, but don't click the mouse, and then type in the distance. So with my keyboard, 8, and hit enter to finish it. Now remember, the software is waiting for you to decide if you want more numbers in there, because it might be that I want 8.1. It's still waiting. It's still waiting for me to put more information in there, right? Or if I just want 8, in order to move to the next part of the command, I have to hit enter. And you don't have to put 8.00, just put 8. Enter. Hit enter twice, so it stopped drawing. Let's go back. I was playing around too much. 8, enter just one time, and now you can move your cursor again, but don't click the mouse. And let me just make this 5, enter. Move my cursor to the left, but don't click it. Type in the number, hit enter. Move my cursor up, type in the number, hit enter. And if you want to try, if you're going to try to get back to this point, you can come down, but don't click that point, and the software knows what your ultimate goal is to line that up. So when you bring this line out here across the top, you see how it will line that up, and it'll tell you that it's 6 over, and you can just hit enter. Oops, again, I was playing around a little bit too much. Bring it over there, get that line, click on it. And I should be able to then connect that. And notice how the object snap boxes are showing up, so I have a closed line. I was messing around, so it kept interrupting my line. But that's how you draw straight lines. Click a point, then move your cursor, type in the value, hit enter, move the cursor, type in the value, hit enter. It's a very quick, efficient way to draw. Let's see, Polyline is just a line where you can actually draw arcs if you want. So you can, in the middle of it, you can switch to an arc. What I'm doing is right-clicking and then using those tools in there. Right, if you want to make a straight line or you want to make arcs. So Polyline is just like a continuous line. I usually don't draw with polylines. For circles, remember you have different settings here. Typically you want to use center, comma, diameter. So what that's telling you, if you look at the command line, specify the center point, and then it's saying specify. In this case, see, it's in the brackets, it's saying diameter. So again, don't try to do this just by moving the mouse. Type in the value that you want for the rate, for the diameter. Hit enter, and there's your circle. That's pretty straightforward. For arcs, you can draw arcs using this tool. It's going to ask you for a first point, second point, and then let's do that again. First point, second point, and then where do you want the arc to be? What kind of radius or whatever. Again, I don't use that tool very often. If I need to draw an arc, I usually do a circle and then cut it away, but you can use that certainly. The rectangle tool, and you'll notice that arrow lets you do several things. We'll come back to that. For the rectangle tool, notice what the command line says, specify the first corner point. So click a corner, and then you can move your cursor. If you were just wanting to freehand a rectangle, just click the next corner. That doesn't give you an accurate drawing though. So click your first corner, and then you'll see that blue. Now notice how if I move the mouse this way, see how that number is increasing. So that first number is how long the rectangle is going to be. If I move it this way, it's the other value. So I need to move it to the right, but don't click it, and then type in the value. Let's say it's 4.5. Don't hit enter because it'll be done with the command. To get from one box to the next, see how there's two boxes there, the one that's white and the one that's gray. Hit tab. It'll take you to the next box. and then you can put in that value. That's going to be the depth. So that rectangle was 4.5 by 3. Now an interesting thing, when you use that rectangle tool, like for example, I made this box out of separate lines. If I wanted to erase just one of those lines, I can select it, hit enter, and that'll go away. Let me undo that. In this case, because I used the rectangle tool, if I were to try to erase, it erases the whole thing. So it's one entity. So that rectangle is, all 4 lines are connected together. Now if you want to break that apart, you have to use this tool here and modify. I'll go ahead and try to jump ahead a little bit. It's called explode. And if you read what it says, breaks a compound object into its components. So if I click on that and then click on the rectangle and hit enter, now it broke it down into separate line segments. So it's a quick way to draw a rectangle, and then you can just explode it quicker than drawing 4 lines, definitely. And so I use that pretty often. I'll use the rectangle tool. Beneath rectangles, if you click on that little arrow, it also will do polygons. So polygons are not 4-sided shapes, any side shapes. Now notice what the command says, enter the number of sides. So let's say we wanted to do a 6-sided shape. Type in 6. Now remember, you got to hit enter to move to the next part of the command, and then it says specify the center. And it's asking you for inscribed, which means it fits inside of a circle, or circumscribed would be outside. I'll just leave it on inscribed. And see that dash line, that's going to be that inscribed value. So if I wanted that to be, let's say 5, I would hit 5, enter. So what that means is I could fit a circle around that that's 5 inches in diameter. So that's that polygon tool. For the ellipse tool, which I rarely use that, what you would do is, again, look at the command line, specify the center, and then it says specify the endpoint of an axis. So basically move your cursor, I'll type in a value, let's say that's 3.5, hit enter, and there's my ellipse. Now I can type in the other value, let's say that's 5, hit enter, and that's how you make an ellipse. Rarely use that tool. Crosshatch, we'll use that later when we do section views. So that's basically our different drawing tools. Now there are some kind of random things in here that I don't know that I've ever used those. So typically you're going to use lines, circles, rectangles, and sometimes polygon. You know, that's handy if you're drawing like a bolt head or something like that. Okay, so those are your drawing tools.